gonna try to not be too negative about this. This is the final topic that I want to cover in this video, the Patreon purge. I'm going to try to not be as extremely negative as I can about this, because it is something that I can get really very angry about, and I don't want it to be an angry video, but just ever so slightly ranty, shall we say. And I got 2 minutes to keep this within the 20-minute marker, so we'll see about that. Long story short, don't trust Patreon. If you have a Patreon account, if you're a new creator and you have a Patreon account and you don't have any patrons at the moment, just get rid of your Patreon account. Just ditch it. Don't advertise it. Don't ask for anybody to support it, because you can't trust Patreon in even the slightest way. And Patreon does not deserve it doesn't deserve to exist, quite frankly, after what they've pulled. They need to be punished for this, and I don't want to support them, because I think they're an entirely unethical company for what they've done. If you're not aware, they have recently started this wave of deplatforming. They've been banning users off Patreon, and now for those of you who know that I am a free speech advocate, you know that I think that any type of deplatforming on the basis of speech and opinions and ideas, I think is absolutely antithetical to the idea of freedom as a concept, and of course is completely against the concept of free speech, which is a basic human right that everybody deserves. Now, that said, when it's on something like Patreon, when it is potentially someone's livelihood, someone's source of income, that's particularly disgusting. And as somebody who is, at the moment on the recovery from a layoff, somebody who has had their income taken away from them, I find that particularly disgusting and offensive that some rich corporate giant would say, hey, we don't like your opinion, so we don't think you deserve the ability to support your family anymore. I'm sorry, but I think that's absolutely fucking disgusting, and I wouldn't wish that upon somebody that I hate. I wouldn't even wish that on somebody that I hate. I wouldn't wish that on somebody that I think is just a genuine piece of shit. Because here's the thing, this sounds kind of funny to say, but pieces of shit have families too. And here's the thing. Here's the big takeaway from this. Whether you agree with free speech or not, whether you agree that hate speech is even a real thing or not, by the way, from the legal standpoint, it's not, at least not in the U.S. And I say this as a Canadian. And even if you're glad that the people who got banned did get banned, here's the big takeaway from it. Those people got banned, and they did not violate the terms of service, and because this has been well documented. The terms of service were made explicitly by the CEO of Patreon, and it says very explicitly so on their terms of service page. And the people in question got banned when they didn't violate the terms of service. This is a financial institution. You cannot trust these people. I am quite positive. Now, I'm not a law expert, I'm not a lawyer, but I am almost positive that they are violating some kind of law by doing this. I'm positive they are. And of course, the easiest solution is if you have a Patreon account, look into alternatives as quickly as possible. Your livelihood is at risk. I mean that in the most literal sense. There was another alternative for a while, which called Subscribestar, which I've made an account, and they are going to be in the description of my future videos. I actually had a Patreon account. I never got any patrons, but it's not going to be in the description of my fucking videos anymore. Subscribestar is an alternative to Patreon, and PayPal dropped them because fuck PayPal too. They dropped them because they're anti-competitive assholes, and decided that they thought that yet another Patreon alternative didn't deserve to exist. So at the moment, there's a notice on Subscribestar that says that they need about 2 or 3 weeks to get another payment processor to handle payments. So there is hope that is going to be coming soon. And then once that's in place, I think we can probably be rest assured that that is a viable Patreon alternative. And then there's going to be another alternative on the way. Gab has said that they are going to have a built-in Patreon-like system in the very near future as well. And also for similar reasons to Subscribestar, they're working out details with a payment processor. So yeah, competition is good. Competition forces everybody to become better. So that's a very excellent thing. And also Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin are also talking about collaborating and seeing if they can make a Patreon alternative. And if you don't know, Jordan Peterson is like one of the biggest. He might be the biggest person on Patreon. I'm not sure. And he's looking for a way to get out of Patreon. So if Jordan Peterson quits Patreon, if he closes his account, because a lot of people have, that is going to be a huge blow to them. I mean, Patreon is hemorrhaging losers. I'm sorry, that came out totally wrong. I meant Patreon is hemorrhaging users. Those are two very different sentences. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're hemorrhaging users all over the place, and this is hurting people who like aren't even political commentators. Gamers are being hurt by this because people are just saying, "Hey, man, I want to support you, but I can't support Patreon, so I'm out." And it's like, holy shit! It's just one giant clusterfuck. And Patreon and their fucking trust and safety team, how 1984, they've got nobody to blame but their fucking selves. And like for anybody who works over at Patreon, spruce up your resumes. There's going to be layoffs at your company, inevitably. You're hemorrhaging money. It's going to happen. Get your fucking resumes ready, and maybe don't mention Patreon specifically because it might not look good on your resume at this point. So this video went on for a while. I'm not sure if I want to divide this into two or not. Yeah, I will. Maybe I might. I say yeah. Maybe the Patreon Purge thing will be its own video. I don't know. I might divide this up. I'm not sure how I want to do that. So I will mention one other thing on just on terms of alternative platforms and alternative support. So, like I said, I did have a Patreon account. I didn't have any Patreons on it. I didn't actively advertise it or anything. I do have a Subscribestar, which will be active in the near future, and then the same with the whatever the built-in thing that Gab is going to have. I'll be sure to be on that too, just because. And then, of course, if there was anybody out there who did feel like they wanted to support me, but they didn't really have the financial means to do so, there actually are free ways to do it through various cryptocurrency things. Like there's different things that can be done to help me build cryptocurrency, and it doesn't cost the user a dime whatsoever. So this is in a link in the description of a lot of my videos, especially all videos going forward. Whenever somebody gives me an upvote on any of my D.Tube videos, I get a little bit of Steam from that. Steam is a cryptocurrency, although it's not. To be honest, the Steam cryptocurrency is kind of suffering a little bit. So unless the person is a whale, as they say, the upvote's not really going to be worth much. So I mean that is one way. Another way is by watching any of my videos and streams over on BitTube. On BitTube, you earn tubes through a model they call Airtime, and basically it's based off the watch time of video, and both the viewer and the uploader get some of the cryptocurrency, which is a pretty neat little system. I don't know how viable something like that is long term, but I'm gonna ride the wave for now. Yeah, fuck it, why not? I have slightly over 2,000 tubes right now, and at this current time, the tube is worth about 3 cents Canadian. But holy shit, if that ever exploded, I could, if it ever exploded, who knows? I could become a millionaire in tubes, a crypto millionaire. what was I going to say about that? So yeah, and then the benefit, of course, is that you get tubes as well. And then the final way, sort of a more direct cryptocurrency approach, is that and there could be a number of ways you do it. You could do it like anytime you are watching a video or you're watching a stream, or if you just feel like doing it just for the hell of it, or if you're feeling really generous and you want to do it 24/7, you can actually mine Monero coin for me. In the description of the video, it gives you like a little warning, I think, because it says like, some browsers detect this as being, malicious or something, even though it's not. And also ad blocker has to be disabled in order for it to work. Like the start button just won't work. But basically, you go in there, and it opens up a window, and you push the start button, and then it tells you your number of hashes or whatever that are coming out, and a bunch of technical stuff that I don't fully understand. And then you can make it go faster or slower. I find just the default tends to work pretty good. And I found that it didn't necessarily decrease the performance of my computer too much. Like I don't just have it running in the background all the time, just because I don't like to have my computer on the background all the time. I don't want it to, I don't want the computer to, lose its longevity just from being on constantly, but that's just me. So yeah, if people decided to do that and mine some Monero coin for me, that's kind of another free way of, supporting me, and it's just a little bit of your time that's being asked for, basically. Also, I have a merch store. Can't believe I forgot to put that in. Can't believe I actually had to make a jump cut, but there it is. Yeah, so I think that's it for that. And then and then of course I think, just since we're on the topic of it, my PayPal account is still set up on my BitTube account in terms of like donations or pledges or whatever. But I really, truly, honestly, I really don't want that to be there in a way. Like as soon as there's a viable alternative for Patreon or whatever. If BitTube puts in a new system, I'll even close my PayPal account because fuck them too for their censorious ways. I'm absolutely sick of of the censorship, especially when it comes to a financial aspect to it. I think that's just a disgusting practice. It's totally unethical. What was I going to say about that? Plus, when Subscribestar kicks into place, if anybody was feeling so generous as to make a donation, that's definitely the way to do it. No, fuck PayPal, fuck Patreon, fuck those censorious assholes. Yeah. So just to end things off on a positive note, I look forward to streaming again, which I'll be streaming Saturday of this week, the Saturday before Christmas. I can't figure out what the fucking day it is. Oh, the 22nd. It's the 22nd. Saturday of the night, 22nd. I'll be streaming. Videos are going to start posting again regularly. So yeah, I'm just I thank you all for your support. Thank you all for who've watched me through this journey, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future, and I look forward to having people see my videos again and my streams and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you've ever been in a similar situation with me as me, dealing with layoffs, just follow all the usual advice and hang on. And you also might want to get a LinkedIn account, kind of almost even as a security, not a security, almost like an insurance policy. Like if you just so that way it's just out there and people can periodically make job offers to you, even if you've already got a job. And then maybe if if something awful happens, you get laid off, maybe there's a bunch of people that are already waiting to hire you. Go for that. So yeah, if you've been in a similar situation as me, just hang in there, and remember, as always, subscribe to PewDiePie.